Joining me now is author and political commentator Shemeka Michelle.
Shemeka Michelle.
Shemeka Michelle.
Shemeka Michelle.
When God looked at man, he said it's not good for man to be alone. He gave him a woman. He didn't give him a village. He didn't give him the community. He said, be fruitful and multiply to this man and this woman. So it's supposed to be God, husband, wife.
If you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always done.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Canton. I am the director here at the Chloe Day School here in Harlem, New York. As today is a national day of protest for all the violent things that we're seeing happening across our city, here at the Chloe Day School, we learn about service and acts of service from Martin Luther King. And so to end our month of service, it's too cold outside for us to go outside and protest. Our teachers cannot walk off the job and leave our children unsupervised. So today, we decided in solidarity, we will support all those who are out protesting against the violence that we see and the harm that we see happening to our friends. So some of our friends are going to share how they feel about what's happening and what they want to see happen in our government to change the harm that we see. So Sahad, how do you feel about what's happening?
I feel all of it.
Right, and how do you feel? What did you tell us earlier?
I feel angry.
Because you don't like to see what?
I don't like to see people are hurt or taken away from their family.
Right, and so Isabel and Amadi, what do we want to say? Stop the
Hating.
Right. Okay, and my last three, Faith, Mariama, and Raya, what do we want to tell people?
Stop hurting people.
And what do we want to say at the school?
Enough is enough. Stop hurting people.
Ms. Shadira, would you like to share your thoughts?
My thoughts are united, we're powerful, our words are strong, kindness is free. Let's do the right thing.
Miss Amy, would you like to share?
Just stop hating and be kind to one another.
Here at the Chloe Day School, we teach love, we teach kindness, and when we work together, we are a better world. Thank you. We're fighting with you, even though we're inside. Have a great evening. God bless.
Yeah. Happy Monday, first of all, okay? Happy Monday. Welcome to Shaking My Head with Shemeka Michelle. I'm your host, Shemeka Michelle, and I am shaking my head about that because what the hell is that? What is that? This, to me, is child abuse. This is child abuse. This is grooming at its finest. To sit here and condition these children to say specific things that they otherwise would have no idea about is child abuse. And it frustrates me because this is why I say, women, you have no business having children and then putting them in the hands of women who can't or don't have any. Can't, don't have any, don't want any. It's ridiculous. This is child abuse, and this should not be okay. This should not be okay. Walkouts or protests for ICE being allowed, organized, and encouraged on our children. So this is where they start out. I'm going to show you where they end up if we aren't careful. Look at this foolishness. It's so frustrating, guys. I mean, I just don't even understand how we are allowing this to happen and not saying a word about it. This is the Langston Hughes High School in Georgia.
Oh, my mama did this teaching. She thinks she had my sons. When we get back to the crib, I'm gonna let all of her buns. I'm gonna get the low down. Yeah, she better not try to run. Pull up in the
Anybody else frustrated with this bullshit? Because that's exactly what it is. Let's talk about the fact that these young people, the kindergartners or the daycare center, they cannot consent to political ideology. And what we are witnessing with this high school, this is not a youth voice. This is borrowed outrage. Because what are you talking about? Who is telling you to be so angry? And then look at the fact that they were tossing laptops that I'm pretty sure were given to them by the school system. They didn't have to pay for, so they're throwing these laptops. Mind you, if the school system gave them to them, they're being paid for by taxpayers. This is crazy to me. And you don't accidentally radicalize a 5-year-old. This is on purpose, teaching these young kids, and I don't care that there are black and white, and I think I saw Hispanic in the video. I don't care about the diversity. I care about them claiming this is love, but you are still teaching them to hate a particular group of people, a particular side. And not only that, you are then not educating them. I looked up the Langston Hughes college, the 12th graders, to see how many of them actually graduate ready for college. In 2024, it was less than half. So you all have the audacity to allow these children to protest, to do these walkouts, and they aren't even ready for the next level of education. They can't read proficiently. They can't do math proficiently. They are falling behind in biology. But this is what is being allowed in classrooms across the country. Reading proficiency is low. The math scores are lagging. And you can clearly see that behavioral discipline is collapsing. Tossing laptops in the video. Why is this being allowed? So schools are not competent to teach fractions, but they are competent enough to organize walkouts and protests. Somebody make it make sense to me. I was talking to my best friend earlier. Gosh, I don't know. Maybe I should have kept her anonymous. Sorry, best friend. But anyway, we were just talking about how you have to really be careful about who you put your children with, whether it's school, whether it's just simply babysitting them for the night, babysitting them for the day, just so you can get a break. Because these aren't education centers anymore. They are small indoctrination camps. And it's frustrating because when I think about my own lived experience, my education, There were plenty of things that teachers could have rallied us against and actually made us feel a certain way about certain topics. When I was in school, the crack epidemic was devastating. And I do remember doing a research paper on the dangers of drugs, but we actually got to choose what we did the research paper on. We weren't being indoctrinated to feel a certain type of way about certain things. I also remember doing a paper on the AIDS epidemic. But I came from a household where my mother was a nurse. My grandmother was a nurse. So for me to choose something like this, it wasn't far-fetched. But this was me bringing, being able to choose something to talk about, to do my research paper on, and then bringing it and sharing it with the class. This was not me taking on my teacher's ideology. This wasn't my teacher trying to instill their beliefs on me. This wasn't my teacher trying to get me to think a certain way and to feel a certain way about things going on in the country. I was in school doing the Iran-Contra. Nobody cared. We were not forced to pick a side. We were not forced to do a video with rehearsed points that our teacher had given us to say. We were allowed to be children. When the whole Rodney King event happened, we weren't forced to pick a side. And I went to a predominantly Black high school. I told you all that. As a matter of fact, let me give a shout out to Hillside High School. Yearbook is right here. I was just going through them. I went to a predominantly Black high school. You know, it had to be predominantly Black to have this type of yearbook cover. It don't get no blacker than this. This is the color is Black, the design is Black. What is this, velvet? It don't get no blacker than this. But we still were not conditioned and forced to pick sides about something going on in the country at the time. So it's frustrating when I see this. We weren't made to choose or to feel a certain way about the Gulf War or any type of urban crime waves. School was school. As a matter of fact, when I was in school, and I honestly, guys, I wish at times that school was a little bit different, but when I was in school, we didn't even always know our teachers' first names. We didn't know their first names, and I say I wish it was a little different because there are times now when I'm wondering, like, I wonder what happened to Miss Hennett, my second grade teacher. I don't know her first name, and so I don't know how to look her up. There are a few of them that I know where they are, but for the most part, we didn't know their first names. Not only did we not know their names, many times you didn't know if they were single or married, because a lot of times they didn't use the MRS. If they were married, they still used MS. We didn't know whether they were married many times. And you know what we certainly did not know? We certainly didn't know who they were sleeping with. That was never a conversation in class when I was in school. We didn't know who they were sleeping with. We didn't know who they desired to sleep with. Women actually came to school dressed like women. And they didn't come to school looking like they were selling ass, as we see some of these teachers now in videos. They didn't come to school looking like they were selling ass, and they didn't come to school looking like they had just rolled out of the bed. They were very professional, and they came with a goal every single day. And that goal was to educate us on reading, writing, and arithmetic. That was the goal. To this day, I have no idea what political side of the aisle my teachers fell on, especially in elementary school, especially in nursery school. I have no idea because it wasn't talked about. And if any of my teachers had ever brought sex into the conversation, do you know whether or not you like men or women? Well, what do you mean like? I'm just a child. What are you saying? Like, what do you mean? I like both girls and boys. Well, who would you want to bump crotches with? Girls or boys? That was never the conversation. And I'm telling you, if it was, my family would have gone to the school and all hell would have broken loose. But now, with children not even being prepared for the next grade level, this is typical everyday conversation. We are literally allowing students to do walkouts and protests, and they can't read. Walk out and do protests, and they can't do math. When our teachers came to school, their politics stayed at home. Their sexual orientation stayed at home. Childhood for us wasn't a political battlefield. But this is what we are allowing today. I think kids in that first video who clearly rehearsed what they had to say, who clearly were given talking points, I say it's child abuse. And I know there are people who are going to say that there's nothing physically going on, but for someone who did domestic violence events every single year, we had so many people tell us there's so many different levels of abuse. You have physical abuse, financial abuse, mental abuse. This is child abuse to me. Maybe not physically, but this is mental and emotional abuse. These kids have no idea at this age what's really going on. And kids, because they are so resilient, they're not going to look up and see little Don Juan or Juan Carlos gone and just be so devastated behind it. I told you I had a classmate in the first grade, Sekou Mendez, never seen him since. I made it. I survived just fine. I went to second grade, no Sekou Mendez, so what? Oh well. I had a best friend in the 6th grade. She was here for like half a year. We became so close. My mother bought us the necklaces that it was broken in half with writing on one side, writing on as if we were going to have these necklaces 10, 15, 20 years later. I know her first name was Adrian. I can't remember her last name. I haven't seen that necklace probably after a few months of her leaving. So we cannot pretend like, oh, these kids would be so devastated if one of their classmates just wasn't there the next day. They are being indoctrinated by these teachers. They are being indoctrinated by the people y'all are trusting your children to. And you're thinking, oh, I gotta work because we need we need two incomes from this household. Or maybe you're a single mom and you are just tossing your children to people and thinking they are instilling good morals and values into them, when actually they are not. They are just indoctrinating these kids. When I graduated 12th grade, I could not go into detail about the Iran-Contra. I just couldn't. But you know what I could do? I could graduate with a scholar's diploma, having that advanced math class and the advanced science class, because we were actually being taught. I could be listed among who's who among American high school students because we were actually taught. I could get academic scholarships to go to college because we were actually taught the things that we needed to go to the next academic level. Our kids today are not getting that. They are getting pumped with a bunch of bullshit. Now, whatever their parents teach them at home, that's on the parents. I do not think when you are putting kids into an educational facility that they should be getting anything other than the education, the academics they need for the next academic level. And then what's so frustrating, as I was looking at this Langston Hughes High School in Georgia, what's so frustrating is that we also tell these kids that they can't get ahead because they're Black. They can't be as successful because they're Black. When the truth is, they are just unprepared academically. They could do just as well as anybody else in the real world if they had the right preparation. But instead of preparing these kids academically, they're pumping them with foolishness. And I'm not saying that kids shouldn't care about things. I remember seeing the Rodney King tape and feeling like, oh, dog, that's messed up. That's horrible. Watching him being beat down like that, I cared. I'm saying the school should not be shaping what these kids care about. The schools should be preparing them academically. And I think for them not to do that, or to be focused and doing a video on points they gave these kids to say, is child abuse. And I know it's a strong accusation. I understand that. But my question is, who benefits from politicized children? Who is benefiting from that? Side note, I had the Grammys on last night as I was preparing for today's show. And I was going through these videos about the different schools and the walkouts they were doing and looking at some of their report cards. And I was hearing the things going on at the Grammys. It seemed as if so many times when people took the stage and had the mic, they just felt like they had to say something anti-ICE, anti-Trump. We watched Trevor Noah try to make a joke about Nicki Minaj being at the White House with Donald Trump. Like, who's benefiting from politicized children? That's who's benefiting. Because when you can indoctrinate them early, it'll be very hard for them to undoctrinate themselves, for them to unlearn all of the BS that's being pushed into their heads, their spirits at an early age. By the time they're sitting in the Grammys, they are good and indoctrinated. If you start as early as we see them starting in that video, as early as we see them having these sexual orientation conversations with children, they are as good as puppets by the time they are adults. They're really puppets long before them, but I'm saying by the time they would sit in the Grammys, there's no pushback. You have them doing exactly or anything you want them to do. If we are allowing school systems to shape what they care about, they're shaping their morals. They're shaping their values. So if you think nothing is wrong as a, they're telling you love is love, and you're 40 years old and you see a 4-year-old that you find appealing, you've been indoctrinated for 40 years, you allowed somebody else to shape your values and your morals, you see no issue with finding a 4-year-old appealing. And then these people eventually will be the ones setting laws, setting boundaries, making rules, indoctrinated from childhood. This is what we are allowing. Why are teachers and unions and administrators, why are they not being held accountable? Why do we see video after video after video coming out and they aren't being held accountable? Why is indoctrination dismissed? Unless it comes from a parent who's conservative, indoctrination is just dismissed. As I was saying about the Grammys, we watched a room full of people just completely indoctrinated. And I watched them, Trevor Noah, try to make a joke about Nicki Minaj. And it just says to me where we are as a community, where we are as a group of people, especially the Black community, that you feel like it's okay to ridicule someone for being fully dressed in the White House with Trump. Someone who, when she was half naked, rapping about her female body parts, this same community had no issue with it. She was celebrated for promoting debauchery. She was celebrated. Nobody was trying to ridicule Nicki Minaj on a large scale when she was just pushing degeneracy on young females. Now, all of a sudden, they're trying to make her the butt of the joke, ridicule her, cancel her for being fully clothed and supporting Christians, thanking Trump for the work that he's doing for Christians in Nigeria, saying she's his biggest fan, lining up with conservative talking points. All of a sudden now she needs to be canceled. And people think, ha ha ha, they're sitting, oh, this is what we're doing to Nikki, ha ha. It says more about you than it says about her. It says more about how you align, what you align with, than it says about her. To watch the gay man, Billy Porter, have something to say about Nicki Minaj when he dresses like a woman, and people, yeah, look, Billy Porter had something to say. He's a maggot with an F. Don't want to get my video flagged, but y'all know I have no problem saying the word if I was only broadcasting on X. Have no problem saying exactly what it is. Trying to see, and we push so much foolishness onto our kids at a young age, and we are allowing it to happen. It's crazy to me. Education should inform, not mobilize. But we're allowing them to mobilize our kids. I remember when my daughter went into college, and they had like a day's worth of, like, this full day of orientation. And she was texting us in our group chat, which is me, my mom, and her other sisters. And she was asking us, like, what is Z and Zer? They were teaching them about pronouns that I had never heard of, telling them they have to be mindful and respectful of people who go by different pronouns. Z, Zer, foolishness. Thankfully, she was raised the way that she was. If she's not acknowledging that, no matter how long you have her sitting in an orientation, she's not going to acknowledge that. Why? Because their father, our family, shaped their morals and values. We didn't allow the school system to shape their morals and values. In fact, I remember them getting an assignment in school where they had to, the teacher, white liberal woman, told them that Black women are the least protected. Just Black women are just so pitiful, so down on their luck. The assignment for the class that particular day was to write Trayvon Martin's mother a letter. What would they say to her? Because, Black women are just so neglected and rejected. I got on the phone. You're not going to be teaching my Black child, my Black female child, that she's any less than or incapable of being great because she is Black or because she's a Black female. You will not put that in her head. And I thought I possibly would get some type of a pushback from the teacher. They weren't as empowered then, because right now they feel so empowered. They would probably give me, a bunch of back talk. But this teacher actually had a sigh of relief, said that she just felt like this is what she had to do. This was put in front of her. It was like Black Lives Matter week or something ridiculous like that. And she actually was thankful that I pushed back. But there are so many parents who don't have the time, for whatever reason, whatever choices they made in life, they don't have the time or the energy or don't make the effort to be as involved in their children's lives. And they are just being completely indoctrinated. And then we wonder why kids sometimes get to a certain age and they're smelling themselves and they feel like the parent is just beneath them. The parent is just so horrible, such a terrible person that they don't even want to be around. It's because they have been indoctrinated on what to care about, coming from schools and not homes where it should. And then you get someone like myself that says, you know, we need to get back to tradition. And people think, oh, that girl's crazy. She don't know what she's talking about. How dare her feel like we need to go back to some tradition? I'm a modern woman. I am a new age woman. I don't need a man. I can bring home the bacon, fried up in the pan. And listen, let me say, I can't even believe that at one time I repeated that silly BS. Because the truth is, if I got to bring home the bacon and fried up, I'm gonna let you, I ain't gonna never let you forget that you ain't a man. But this is what we were taught. We don't need men. We can do it all. And now, generations later, we are seeing the effects of women doing it all. You're not even paying attention to what's happening to your children while they're in school. And it's no accountability for the type of foolishness that we're seeing in these videos. There's no way that a school that is failing academically should not be ridiculed, because it's clear where their priorities are. You're failing these students. Not even half of them at the Langston Hughes High School, not even half of them that graduate are college ready. But you aren't disciplined for allowing them to be out throwing laptops that they didn't pay for. There should be some type of discipline they should face for that. That shouldn't be allowed. You're failing these young people. But it's cool. It's cool. And clearly these kids thought nothing of them recording themselves out on the football field or wherever they were, acting like idiots, chimping out, as people would say. Clearly they thought nothing of it, because if they did, maybe the video would have been a bit harder to find. They saw nothing wrong with them chimping out. Clearly their parents see nothing wrong with them chimping out. Clearly the administrators of the school see nothing wrong with them chimping out. Chimping out but can't read. Chimping out but can't do math on grade level. You graduate and not even half of you are prepared. for college, I see a problem with that. This is a problem. Because this isn't just our children rebelling. This is outsourced politics. They're not seeing this stuff and saying, oh, we're the, what was it? The student nonviolent committee, whatever. It's not even that. They're not seeing this stuff, and they're just so smart and so buttoned up that they want to make a stand, take a stand and make a change. That's not even what's happening. They are just allowed to be idiots. They are allowed and celebrated in being idiots. I think, was it the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee or whatever? I think that's what it was. It's not even that. These are just idiots being celebrated for being idiots. Indoctrinated stupidity. And no one's saying a word. And the people that are saying something, the pushback I would get, oh, how dare you say something about Black people? How dare you use the term chimping out? That's a white racist word. That's a white racist term. I mean, but if the shoe fits, if it fits, wear it. Because that's what I see. Hi, head shakers. Thank you for being here today. Hi, Melina. Hi, Sharisa. Just want to remind you all, was my video frozen at one point? Sorry about that. My screen keeps freezing. I'm sorry. I was going in, y'all. Wasn't even looking. But not your audio, only visual. Well, good. I'm glad you all could hear it. I don't know what's going on. Y'all know we still got some snow on the ground here. But as long as you could hear me, my daughter said my connection is pretty bad early on. Okay, it's a little bit better. Oh, it's bad again. Could y'all hear me? I'm so sorry, because this was good. This was really good. I'm probably going to put it on Spotify, just audio only, if y'all could hear the audio, because people need to be aware of what's happening to their children in school. Sorry, guys. A lot of times when I'm talking, I come back and catch your comments. Thank you for those who tried to text me, but I was going in. I'm going to load this audio on Spotify if my audio was working pretty much most of the time. Hi, Girly Samurai Esquire. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Dee Dee. Hi, Bodie, Body. Hi, Jay Hunter Lee. Thank you for being here. Explicit Intel. Girly Samurai Esquire. A teacher's job is to teach reading, writing, and arithmetic and social conduct. Parents are teaching morals and ethics. This is nothing but anarchist teaching designed to promote socialism. I totally agree. Last Scion says, and thank you, Thomas, for being here. Schools are teaching kids what to think opposed to how to think. Exactly. It's brainwashing them to believe what the administration wants them to believe. I absolutely agree. Sharisa says, Hornet Pride. Hornet Pride. That's where we went to school. Girly Samurai says, teachers, look at me, fingers just clicking too fast. Teachers are supposed to be neutral and teach objectively so that students learn to think critically, participate in society, and understand benefits versus consequences of choice. This is so ridiculous. It's sad to see. Hi, GI Robot 2 says, I mean, the Boston Tea Party was protest. I learned in school from a history book. And Sharice is reminding you all to like, share, and subscribe. Hi, Alicia. Thank you for being here. Alicia says, at this point, we need to have cameras in every classroom. If I had young children today, number one, I would probably homeschool. But just if for some reason I couldn't homeschool, I would definitely want to see what's going on in that class every single day, every moment of the day. I just would not trust my children in school in this day and time. Stimulated student says Langston Hughes was an atheist homosexual. He shouldn't have a school named after him. You ain't said nothing but the truth. If I had an offering, I'd throw it your way. It's so crazy because so many of the people that they kind of put up in school when we were in school as these great people, a lot of them were lesbians or homosexuals. I think Nikki Giovanni, wasn't she gay as well? We know James Baldwin was gay. They put these people in front of us as if these were the people that we should actually look up to. And it's like, when I got older and actually found out what they were into, it's like, wow. I can remember Angela Davis being celebrated. Angela Davis was a whole Marxist. I had no idea. So I'm with you. Hi, Melinda. Thank you for being here. Melinda says, plus she is a mother and a wife now. She should be praised for actually growing up. Talking about Nicki Minaj. Yes. They don't want people to grow up. They want them to continue to just push foolishness. Hi, Gabrielle. Thank you for being here. And I have not forgotten that I have to message you. They feel empowered because conservatives won't sue them. If the teacher is violating their rights, they need to sue their draws off. I agree. And I hope you enjoyed your birthday and saw my birthday wish to you. Hope you had a really happy, did you say 49th birthday? I remember those days. Those were the good old days. Let's see. Thomas Bailey says, our children are being indoctrinated with woke DEI BLM bull. Absolutely. Fantasy football, you are welcome for the repost. Girly Samurai. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. Be like Girly Samurai. Thank you for the super chat. For the algorithm. Thank you for putting the information out. I really appreciate it. Carolyn says, you heard me the whole time, but you kept freezing on screen. Okay. So at least we have a good audio. I'm happy about that. Stimulated students. They deleted my comment about Black history being N-word. Black history being N-word fantasy month. LOL. But yes, they were all Marxist homosexuals at best and pansexuals at worst. Yeah. I actually had forgotten that it was February and it was nigga fantasy month. I'll say it. I forgot, but I know that I'll be quickly reminded as soon as I get on social media for any amount of time. Thomas says, usually female teachers messing with young boys. And it's what's so frustrating too is a lot of these women who mess with young boys, I don't feel like they get the time or the discipline that they should get. It's like nobody cares when it's young boys versus young girls. And I think they should be held accountable, string them up, in my opinion. Have no business with that. Joseph Davis says, sup, Shemeka. Angela Davis had ancestors who came over on the Mayflower. I did see something. Did I see something where some of her ancestors maybe were slave owners? Did I see that? I can't really remember. Thomas, I know a woman whose grandson tried to steal a laptop from the school. Like, how stupid can you be? Right. Knowing that they keep up with all that information. Yeah. June used to be Black Music Month. Now it's Cultural Terrorism Month. And Gay Month. It's just sad where we're watching The Long Slide, as Tucker's book that he wrote a few years ago, The Long Slide. We're witnessing the long slide and how the country, the people, the morals, the values are just going all the way down. And Thomas says, Sonny, her ancestor, Sonny Hostin, what is her name? Hostin. I don't know how she pronounced it. I know she get on my nerves. She's on The View. Her ancestors owned slaves. Yet every time she talks, she's just so oppressed. Oh God, I swear they really work my nerves. But this irritates me, guys, and I'm so frustrated when I see it, simply because each and every time when they name the school, you go and you look at the report card, and the report card says they need to be in class. They don't need to be walking out. As a matter of fact, some of their report cards look as if they need to have a working lunch. Like they don't even need to have lunch and be able to relax and listen to music and talk and laugh. They need a working lunch. These kids are so behind. So behind, and nobody's being held accountable. And I'm shaking my head about it. Somebody has to. And I thank you all for joining me to shake your head along with me for this foolishness. For the people young in the chat who still, haven't had children, or you're still raising your children, be aware of what's going on. I trust that you are. This is why we gather together, because on so many things we are like-minded. And we are aware of what's actually happening. I'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time, shaking my head about something else. Because they never give us a shortage of content, right? I'm shaking my head all day, every day about something. Thank you, Bless 7773, for being here. I thank you all, head shakers, for being here. See you tomorrow. Be here or be square. Be there or be square. I see y'all. I love you. Peace.